Verse 8 of the Tao Te Ching. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It flows to low places loathed by all men. Therefore, it is like the Tao. Live in accordance with the nature of things. In dwelling, be close to the land. In meditation, go deep in the heart. In dwelling with others, be gentle and kind. Stand by your word. Govern with equity. Be timely in choosing the right moment. One who lives in accordance with nature does not go against the way of things. He moves in harmony with the present moment, always knowing the truth of just what to do. Now, as I've said before, you want to row your boat gently down the stream of consciousness. You want to flow like water, which is soft but overcomes even the greatest of obstacles, and can, in fact, as we've seen with the Grand Canyon, start out as a tiny trickle of a stream, and over time look how deep that goes. Living the way of the Tao, the great way, living a God-realized life, being one with nature and your surroundings, living in the present moment, neither focusing on the past or focusing in the future. I mean, you can't change what has already been done. Tomorrow may never even come. But what you can do is live in the moment and try to be the best that you can be for this particular moment, for all those that are around you. You can offer words of wisdom when you feel it necessary. I think taking the time to let people you know that you care. Why wouldn't you want to? I think that one too many people, even within my own life, are just so concerned with how the world perceives them. They want to be the bigger person in any given situation. They want to have the attention focused on them. And those sorts of people really do, if you take a look and notice, they get really upset when the attention is not upon them, it's on someone else. Something is different, but someone, oh, you can't have that. Some people crave attention more than you'll ever understand. Some people get really angry when they're not viewed as gurus in any given situation. In a previous video, I had mentioned on a tattoo, what would Wayne do? You can really see how people want to be Wayne in that situation, and not necessarily my Wayne, but they would like to be the ones that are thought of and the ones that people turn to. And yet, really, when it comes down to it, they're just crappy people. And they really don't care about you or anyone but themselves. And they might tell you how much they care about this one and that one and how they're just focused on. And really, what are they focused on? Nothing good. And nothing other than themselves. That's a problem. I can give you examples, and I don't really want to call people out, especially when they're supposedly on their path of betterment. But really, it's not about betterment for all of anyone in mankind, It's about them. They're the type of people that are asking not what they can do for their country, but they are asking what their country can do for them. I don't really care about that. Yeah, I'm proud I have a platform. I'd like to use it for good. But I don't need to stand in the middle of the room commanding attention and getting angry if the attention doesn't fall upon me. I don't really care, dude. Life isn't about, look at me, look at me. Life is about helping other people. Life isn't about how much you want to tell people how much your time is valued. And that you don't have time to stand there and deal with their nonsense. I think people really need to take time to look within themselves. Before you even get to finding God within yourself, you need to find out what kind of a person you really are. Chances are, if you were to relate all of what you are into someone else, you wouldn't want to be around them. And most people aren't afraid of looking in a mirror to see the physical reality of what they are, more so than looking into the mirror and seeing who they are. Some people suck, and not in a good way. Some people are just horrible, low-down, nasty, disgusting souls. Maybe somewhere along their way, somebody like you or I or whatever can impact them into wanting to be a better person, more so than wanting to acquire more than what you possess. But for a lot of people, I don't think that's going to happen. I think a lot of people want to take a book like this and be like, oh yeah, I've read it, But they wouldn't want to apply it because they enjoy living the life of a crappy human being. living the great way is not for them. But they'll tell you all about how they're living a great way, and that's for you. Look what I can do, and oh yeah, I can help you. And yet, when it really comes down to it, they really can't do all that they want you to believe that they can, and they are really not all that they really want you to believe that they are. Going with the flow isn't about relaxing and enjoying a moment in your day when it comes to these sorts of people. I can tell you all about, give you examples of crappy people, but that's not what this book is about, is it? It's about finding your own truth and your own path and finding God within, letting go of all your petty crap, and just trying to be a better person for others, not yourself. Those types of people that I've just mentioned aren't really going to accomplish very much in life. But they're going to want you to praise them and worship them and act like they're the greatest thing you've ever seen. And their time is money. And they don't get out of bed for anything less than. And then they'll flash about how some glorious amount of dollars is all they'll get out of bed for, and you couldn't possibly, because you don't make enough. I've encountered a lot of crappy people in my life. That's a blessing for me, and that's an educational tool for me, because I don't want to be anything like them. I'm grateful for having the experience of being in their presence, because it shows me what I want to be is nothing like them. And some people really cannot tolerate being in the presence of someone who commands attention without even trying. But I'm grateful for those people in my life that I've encountered along my way. Kind of alluding in my mind that I don't want to be around them anymore. That I've got better things to do with my life than feed their ego. And ego, in the wise words of Wayne, ego is edging God out. I think those people have already edged God out. How can you better your life? That's simple. But if you ask them, they can't tell you in a truthful sense of how to better your life, because in reality they just want you to model yourself after them. What have they accomplished? What have they done for mankind? Some people have even gone as far as becoming a Freemason, and they're really horrible people. There's only a few here and there you'll meet along the way that really don't deserve the blessing of being called a Mason. But they'll want to use that as a platform because that's pretty much the only platform they could acquire. Row your boat gently down the stream of consciousness. Walk a God-realized path. And all those crappy people around you, use that to your advantage. And by using it to your advantage, what I mean is use that as a tool for you to remind yourself you are on a much better path. And you really don't need to be around people that just aren't worth it. They would be the ones blessed to be around you instead. And they'll walk in and out of your life like it's nothing. Because you mean nothing to them. This verse, this passage, it can be taken in so many ways. I mean, like I've said, you can read this book in a day. But you could study each verse individually can be studied in a lifetime. You can gain so much knowledge just from each paragraph inside each verse. But I really think people need to take a look around themselves and see the gratitude even in the negative situations. Now that might not have anything to do with this verse at all. So I'm going to open this up really quick on this verse that I had just read. I'm going to go over it one more time, because this verse is pretty important. They all are. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It flows to low places, loathed by all men. Therefore, it is like the Tao. The Tao is the great way. The supreme good is like water. Really, it is. It can overcome and separate mountains. I mean, really, take a look at the example of the Grand Canyon. That was all done by a tiny, tiny little stream. The greater good of God can really, really do more than you can ever understand. Live in accordance with the nature of things. Really. I mean, you just can't take that any other way. Nature is good. Nature is a part of God. You want to live in accordance with God. You want to live a God-realized life. You want to walk a path that God would be proud. Not any other way. Now let's skip down a second here. One who lives in accordance with nature does not go against the way of things. And again, my people, I mean, you just have no idea how some of the people out there will even just go as far as becoming a Freemason, just so they can have a platform, because there's no other way that they'll get it or gain attention or praise, and they're desperately trying because they want to be the ones that you look up to. In reality, all they're doing is just struggling with themselves more and more and more each time somebody who does walk a God-realized life that God would be proud of. They're struggling more and more and more with that because they don't want to see such a good person standing before them when that good person doesn't even have to say a single word, and all eyes are upon them and not the person that sucks. By walking a better path in life, being a better person, you're going to teach people things about themselves more than anything else. And some people just can't handle that. So what? This is pretty improper. Yeah, man. I love each and every one of you. Whether I've met you in my life, whether I will ever, doesn't matter. I think some people really need to read this book. And if you don't want to take the time to read a book, you don't like reading, watch the videos that I've done here. Maybe you'll gain a little more insight with the little bit of additive that I've included along with each verse. Such as this moment. I think meditation is a great tool. And I think some people really whoops, I can't even speak, really need to learn a lot. I might be one of them. But one thing I am not is a crappy person. And that just makes people mad. I can walk into a room and not even say a single word. And yet somehow I command attention. Without even trying. And that makes people mad. Those people that are mad in that moment, you can see it written all over their face. Their blood is boiling because they can't tolerate such thing. When you live a God-realized life and you are on a path of enlightenment, you're still going to get working tools. You can learn from negative people, even though they really shouldn't be involved in your life when you're on this sort of a path, because somewhere along the way, these crappy people fall along the wayside. And that's true. But don't think you can't learn from them, no matter how awful they really are. Apply it like I've mentioned in the previous, How can you turn that around into saying you're grateful for it? Because that's really the only way that's going to go away. But don't call them out by name. Because that gives them praise, and they really don't need any more. They don't deserve it. They haven't earned it. Don't even mention their names. I love you, babies. And yes, there are many other ways that I can take this and, deliver it out to you. But this is the message that's coming through me for this particular verse. Hold off on actually going through, so I may even at some point put a part 2 of this particular verse up and give you a proper aura around it, But there's people in my life and they needed to hear this. Like I said, it may not be proper, but they really need to see this. Life is great. Even in your scariest of all moments, if you're living a God-realized life, and you're walking the path that God would want you to walk and be proud to say you are walking, you are still going to be met with resistance and negativity and negative people all around you, even some of the closest people in your life. So what, dude? Let them get angry because they're going to learn a lot from you without your even trying. Enjoy it. Kill them with kindness. Namaste.